side CIS Hope here up against Dose. Going over to the first map here, Shark and Unfixed, obviously no stranger to both the London area, going with E United for a lot of their career so far in Overwatch, but of course also no strangers to Overwatch Pit as they return playing with that same team as mentioned. But starting things off, we do see Kenzie on the Soldier, as Unfixed is now on the Junkrat. So to see, as we do see Dids on this Widow, to see if he can find a angle to work with here, especially on this Soldier, to maybe deny that high ground hold.
And we'll see the rest of the CIS Hope lineup just try and huddle behind that Reinhardt, but he's going to be the first one to go down. And as a result, Kenzie will manage to find one kill with that Rocky Helix, but nothing else done for now. Means that Aang still gets an angle for that Resurrect. Will mean the rest of this defensive lineup should have an easier time to potentially hold, especially with Dids going down.
And Kenzie, who got rezzed up after getting taken down by Dids, who gets rezzed up himself as well. He comes back around. He finds a couple of nice kills there for himself.
Oh.
And look at this. They're still surging forward. Binbest is taken down pretty low, but there it is. We do see the Transcendence forced out by Main as Hidan goes down. Ube has himself a tire at the moment, but I don't know if he wants to pull it out. He will indeed, as Unfixed already found a kill onto Heiko. And there's the Rip Tire. It comes through, but not going to find anything. And Ube should get sniffed out here in just a matter of time. But overall, getting that first tick, almost getting the second there, as you can see, 56.9% towards the 66.6% overall check mark. Still a decent first push.
It was an interesting exchange coming out of Kenzie and Dids multiple times there, as we did see Dids being brought back up time and time again to potentially get that return pick every now and then. But overall, Kenzie staying safe, making sure he does have that high ground advantage, rather keeps it. And now that we'll see early into the fight, actually, Aang popping that Valkyrie just to make sure his team stays safe and alive, healthy with that AoE healing coming out of that left click. But oh, the Earthshare is gonna catch too, and now Kenzie dropping though with that tag flash is gonna look for those targets, and so far it's 2-0. Make that the third one, and with TXAO popping that Graviton, it's gonna be clean up here for CIS Hope.
They're also going to come away with a Transcendence for Main. Hidan used his in the last fight, but talking about Kenzie versus Dids, so far Dids has had a couple of great opportunities. He took down Kenzie initially, but Kenzie really had a great play there. He threw out the Helix Rocket, kept Dids low enough so that when he came out of the window up on top, Kenzie pulled out the Tac Visor, was able to just rip him down quickly. Now we're seeing Dids pull out that Infrasight, and it looks like he's going to look for another opportunity to try to D-nest Kenzie, who's still up top on that high ground. Dids not finding any kind of angle to work with yet. But now we do see the Graviton coming down. Do they have the follow-up damage? Ube trying to figure it out, but with that Transcendence that I was talking about before from Main, they're able to easily sustain inside of it.
When the Air Shatter could come out, no opposing Reinhardt, means that he will be forced to be resurrected. Benbest now back in play. He could potentially hold this Earth Shatter from coming towards his team. And no, we will see Heiko going down, but the charge is going to fall. So the return of Shatter is going to mean that it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. But overall, definite advantage here for CIS Hope as they still hold strong. Kenzie still able to find it once again. TXAO takes down Ube, and with one more push, potentially max 2 left for Dose, things are not looking good for them.
Now we're seeing Dids swap over to that McCree. He wasn't able to get as much as he wanted done on that Widowmaker. Now he's going to be able to get a little bit more aggressive. If you force Chow to pop his projected barrier, you know, it creates a big opening for a flashover pick that they can lead into a big charge and start a play up. But they have to start worrying about that Graviton that's going to be available here for Chow as well. As Kenzie has the Tac Visor, they're going to take Benbest low as ever, and they're looking for the kills. And boy, Unfixed already with a couple himself. He doesn't even need the Rip Tire to secure it, but he's going to pull it out anyways. Only 2 seconds left on the clock. An easy first point hold for CIS Hope.
And they make it look definitely easy. He has only 56% achieved on that particular point. Is going to mean that they should have a relatively easy time themselves to potentially get that first one on the board. And looking at their potential comp coming into their offensive push, do you expect Dids to return fire with a Widowmaker of his own, or just, as said, go into that potential quad tank formation?
Well, I mean, from what they're going with at the moment, I mean, with Dids so far from what we've seen, I mean, he might go over to the Soldier, which is what we saw from Kenzie. which is going to be the case. He actually does lock that in. So this is going to be pretty much the same defensive style that we saw. But if they do wind up going with this specific type of attack, which I don't think they're going to do, I think that they're going to probably try to keep unfixed on either Genji or moving him over to potentially a Pharah, just depending on what they think about Dids being on Soldier or, you know, another tank or something like that, because it's certainly possible that he could have been on something like a Roadhog, but I'm not personally aware of his hero pool. You might know more about that, but looking at how things are starting right now, main at the moment is, of course, on a Moira. You might swap over to a Zen, but we haven't yet seen what CIS Hope is going to go with. Curious to see, though.
As this composition will eventually soon enough round up, Kenzie could be the one to contest Dids on that Widowmaker instead, of course, but it might just come through with a quick scout on that particular hero, swap back to something else, and for now might just go in for that Sonic R as well. But looking at it, Unfix will make the swap over to that Junkrat, so we'll see him potentially contest Ube and try their hand at a similar comp.
So he's going to go over to the Junkrat as opposed to the Pharah. They obviously either scouted Dids or assumed he would be on it, and now it's going to be a duel again, this time swapping around a little bit as Kenzie going to have that opportunity to try to take some picks and D-nest Dids himself. He's going to go ahead and work his way over to the high ground. He's going to have a great sightline to deal with this Soldier, but Dids, just like Kenzie before him, did actually get a little bit of a good amount of damage to start things off with that Helix rocket, just peppering away at Kenzie. Kenzie, though, alongside the rest of CIS Hope, are opening the side up in the meantime because the Soldier can't provide that oversight damage. He has to deal with that Widow up top, and they're going forward here. Sherrick taking a little bit of pressure as he goes up in the air, but he's looking for that high energy kill onto Heiko as he goes down. Ube now trying to make sure he turns it around, but it's not looking like it's going to be the case. Kenzie looking for a kill onto this Mercy, and the Mercy is going to be eliminated. Trance comes out, and a first take, a very quick one at CIS Hope. Kings Row victors here, 1-0 now. Man, they're looking good already.
That was such a quick one, and even though those does have some really good names in their lineup, but just unseemingly able to find anything here on KR to start things off. We'll be looking to see if Anubis, which is going to be the next map, have better results to potentially equalize the series 1-1 and bring it to Oasis. So we'll find out soon enough. Don't go anywhere.
And we are back rather quickly to the analysis desk. That was a really fast match. CIS Hope
To say the
really,
least.
yeah, to say the least. CIS Hope looked on a different level, completely on a different level compared to those.
Well, the big question that I have is, if given the turnaround, as in if CIS Hope started with their offense to start it all out rather, would have it looked differently? Because Dids really take his time swapping over from the Widowmaker and it seemed like it was way too late. So I wonder if now that they do have a better feel potentially of their opponents and what they're capable of or what they might bring out, if they're going to look a little bit stronger. But yes, so far it's not looking too hot for them.
So I would say this match was looking like a testing ground, so to say.
Potentially here, some of these teams might not be too familiar with CIS Hope like those for now, so it might just be down to the fact that they were, again, kind of slow to adapt. But going into Anubis and just in general talking about CIS Hope, they said prior to the tournament starting that judging by their recent scrims and results, they see themselves as a potential top 3 team. And judging by what we've seen so far, they definitely look really strong.
Temple of Anubis seems to be ready. Let's jump right into it.
Coming over now to Anubis, we have perhaps another opportunity to see those Widows back in play that you guys were talking about. Back over on King's Row, we didn't really see them doing all too much. I mean, obviously, Dids was denied pretty well, and then when Kenzie had his opportunity, he certainly took Dids out of the fight. But beyond that, the rest of CIS Hope, of course, did a lot of the work to secure that objective. We saw a very early Transcendence being popped by Main as well, as he was able to get that up rather rapidly himself. But
to say the least,
I'm very curious to see what this Widow versus Widow is going to look like because of that. You know, we just didn't get to see really a lot from it so far. I mean, who do you give the advantage to based on what we've seen so far?
I just have to give it to CIS Hope, especially once you do have Widow set up on that high ground with the likes of an Orisa to support her with the shields. I would like to see potential out of those once they scout this composition out, a swap, since normally you will have a disadvantage when it comes to getting those sidelines on the attack with that Widowmaker, but who knows, maybe it can prove me wrong as the round will start. Ube already looking for a potential angle, but Kenzie, first one to spot him out.
So the main thing with this position that they have here is that you really want to pull them off of this high ground, and we've seen a couple of ways to do that already, where you just boost your way in to that low ground, and then you just work your way under, force them to come to the low ground to contest the point. Now what we're seeing actually Dose trying to accomplish is Ube going over to the low ground, trying to see if he can pull anybody over, and buying time for his team to jump in. Now we're seeing Main actually on the other side. They're just allowing Ube to get free capture here as the dive is kind of falling apart a little bit from Dose, and Kenzie with that kill onto Diz is a big opening now. They can just easily clean the point up, but because of Ube's ability to just sit on the point, they weren't able to come down. CIS Help, of course, let 2 ticks, I think. No, I don't think they got that second one fully.
They didn't manage to get it fully, and as a result, it's going to be just 1 tick accomplished. But now, looking at it, Hidan, not entirely sure why he committed for the particular Valk, but looking at it overall, it might be just because Did's getting another pick there onto Kenzie, thinks he can still turn things around, and so far Ube will be once again the only one on that point, looking for potential targets, does have those Blink. Did find Kenzie right there, and now with the pulse bomb, it's gonna be a trade, Unfixed versus Ube, but again, it shall be CIS Hope holding strong, and no second tick achieved. Or rather,
someone needs to be
barely achieved.
Yeah, someone needs to be able to deal with Dids, though, because he's freely taking pot shots over here from quite a distance away. Sherrick unsure of how to go ahead and get it back onto the point. Transcendence popped now, so this is their big opportunity. They need to clean up a little bit so that they can get aggressive, and boy, Kenzie with a nice shot there to deny Dids. Now he has the best angle in the house. He's now looking for the Mercy kill, not going to be able to find it initially. And with his angle, surely, I mean, they need to be able to clean up quick, or sooner or later, Diz is going to come back and be able to shoot Kenzie in the back of the head. I'm not sure if he's thinking about that. He does make a couple of adjustments, a couple turns there, and now it seems like, regardless of how this turns out with this duel between the Widows at the moment, which Kenzie looks like he's going to win and not going to be the case, but they still managed to cap it here, Brunge, and now they're going to have a lot of time to work with for this second point, and they switch Dids over to a Reaper.
The problem was there for CIS Hope, nobody could really contest Hidan because They had to stay on the point, and once those tanks jumped on top of them and did get the kill, means that they followed soon enough with no supports on their end. So we'll see now coming into the second point with that potential swap pay through. However, now going in with the self-destruct. Can it find any opening picks? And it does find one onto Unfixed.
And Hidan actually is valked right now. They're really finding a lot of kills inside of it. He hasn't even been forced just yet. They haven't gone down. Ube now going off at the moment as he's now looking to try to take down anybody he can in his sightline. Kenzie comes over on that Tracer. They're trying to secure some kills. They're trying to get any kind of footing here on the point, but they're just falling apart seam by seam. Ube with the pulse bomb looking for a stick here, trying to see if he can find Chow, and he does find that kill. Now in the backline, cleaning up main. They do have that opportunity here. They've not yet gotten a tick just yet, but should secure it here, and the center does come out. Dids holding on to that Blossom as he's looking to try to see if he has to use it, and probably waiting for an opportunity to just use it onto a support player instead, just to secure an easy kill onto a Lucio, and that is it. Does find the Lucio indeed. Main on the Transcendence, gonna be coming out of it soon, and he will more than likely fall quickly as the Mei comes back out as well, and this is back and forth so far.
Stall overall pretty good, but still kills coming in here for the side of those as they will continue to push on. Self-destruct, however, is going to push them away for just a little bit. Mei back onto the point is going to continue to make things annoying for them. Now with the bubble though, and again, just trying to build up those ultimates, it is going to mean that they just need to find those final few kills, not just stagger them out. But Unfixed going back with Sharik is going to be able to find Heiko, even though Sharik does go down. Unfixed find Benbest, and only one tick achieved somehow, some way, as Unfixed gets a double on that Mei.
That Mei swap was huge for them. I mean, it was integral in their ability to defend that, because what they did with it was they controlled Benbest. By doing that, it opened up possibilities to just get damage into Heiko as well. They were just freezing everybody that they could, especially those tanks. Those were the priorities so that they could get themselves a foothold to start controlling that point. And boy, did they ever. Sherrick now kind of come away with that Primal Rage as they're looking to try to make another hold here. And so far, they've done a good job stalling. It's down now to just less than 3 minutes. So overall, good defensive hold so far in the second point.
Unfixed though is going to be forced to ice block now, managing to stay alive, but however the pulse bomb is going to connect, and as a result it's going to be a 1-for-1. Hidan going down there for this lineup of Dose is going to be very detrimental as the staying power will be lessened, but it doesn't seem like it matters as the kills are still coming in for the side of the offensive team. And with that, it's going to be the second tick. Can anyone come in and contest? We'll see Chow try and run back to the point as soon as possible. This Mei from Unfixed still being annoying. If it can get another crowd control off onto Benbest, it's going to make sure they potentially stall it even further. But self-destruct once more. Kenzie finds a kill onto Hidan. The fight, the brawl will continue once more. The Transcendence coming out of main is will allow the rest of his team to regroup for now as the stall continues.
Benbest has had an impressive performance so far. He's zoned out that self-destruct, put the barrier down as well, just left that D.Va to the side. They found the kill, and now he's coming back into it. Has to deal with this main now as the stick goes out. Ube with impeccable timing. Now just looking for the Lucio, and they secure it. 146 their time, but boy, was it stalled by CIS Hope. That Mei did a lot. Fortunately, not getting a lot done with the blizzard, but still with those walls, with the freezing that they were able to pull off, that really gave them a huge advantage going now into their attack. If they can get a good time here, they're looking good.
Most definitely. And now the question that remains is Ditz gonna once again go for that particular Widowmaker, with Kenzie most likely pulling it out when it comes to their respective offense, especially considering overall when it comes to that Widow v Widow battle, it seems like Kenzie having the upper hand. Would imagine Dids might opt out of it, but so far looking like he's gonna stick with it. And the one thing that I really liked from Kenzie on that first point, the fact that he managed to really go alongside Zhao over and find very out of the ordinary sidelines off from the right hand side when it comes to that particular defense.
Unfixed on a Reaper at the moment. I have to imagine that they're probably going to go for something similar to, you know, the go underneath kind of strat. But, I mean, here's the thing. Dose isn't holding up top. They didn't Mei boost up in Orisa. They're not going to be holding that kind of angle. So now, as they, you know, as we see Sherrick course, on that Winston with Chow on that Diva. I mean, they could easily get aggressive, maybe find an early kill on the Dids. If they go for that, they'll only find a Widow more than likely. They might find a Mercy up there as well. But, you know, what do you make of this particular composition? Main going to be on a Moira due to Ing, going to be on that Lucio. So they're going to likely speed boost. But, I mean, do you think they're going to be able to make quick work of those tanks with Unfixed on this Reaper? Or do you think he's going to not, or they're going to find too much spacing with that high ground?
It's going to be an interesting one, especially considering the fact that even over on the defensive side, we've seen a bunch of Zenyatta before just being set up on the opposite side of the team that usually gets set up on the high ground with the help of a Mei boost. As so far, we'll see them just straight up jump onto the point, trying to contest from very first few seconds of the round. Did still on that high ground, looking for those targets, but so far unsuccessful.
They're now on the point where Lucio is going to fall. They've already found a lot of picks so far and cleaning up rather quickly yet again. This is looking a lot like King's Row with their efficiency in the attack. Kenzie with a lot of space to work with here as he dove to the point himself. Now, they will secure this and also secure themselves a lot of extra time, 4 minutes to be exact. So they have just over 7 minutes now to get in there. They're not making any swaps from what I can tell just yet. They're moving everybody back in. They haven't secured any ultimate, but they really denied Dose a lot of ability to make a defense work here. But there's Ube coming up with a big pick, already securing a kill onto the Lucio with just that random spam that Junkrat is known for.
Oh, and with Unfixed going down as well, this should halt the push coming out of CIS Hope for now. And now that they have been halted, I'm really curious to see if they're going to still continue to stick on with it. But considering their overall ultimate still being built up, maybe they want to just go ahead, make sure they make the most out of it now that they do have them in their repertoire. And with, as said, with 6 minutes and 26 seconds remaining on their respective push, they have a lot of time to work with as well, as they will continue to push onto the point. Now with the Coalescence coming into play, it's not going to keep Unfixed healthy, as he's going to be the first one to go down. Ube once again finding that kill, and now with Hedon popping Valkyrie should mean the rest of his team will be able to stay safe. Shrix goes down, Main as well, and with Aang, the final support of CIS Hope falling to this lineup of Dose, means that they will be pushed back once more. And at this point, I really want to see some swaps here coming out of him.
I feel like the Widow needs to be changed, so they are indeed going to do that. They're going to change him over to a Tracer. They're not running a Mercy, so obviously picks mean a lot right now. Main still sticking to this Moira for now, as Aang's doing the same with the Lucio. So I'm not sure if I entirely agree with that. I mean, I feel like just with how this meta works, with the composition that they're deciding to run, Mercy is very, very strong. But if, of course, you are able to get onto the point, get a couple of free picks, then use the sound barrier after. We are going to be seeing the Riptire coming out from Mube. He punched out a lot of damage in the last fight, but now looking for a quick couple of picks. He goes around the side, finds one onto Unfixed, who did have his Death Blossom. And remember, they don't have the Mercy, so they can't res him back up. That's a big pick now. Kenzie going forward on the Tracer, looking for a kill onto the Mercy. They find it as Ube got brought back up, so now really is at a 6v5 advantage with the Mercy out of play. Still, you have to find these kills very quickly, and they're just not. Ing fell. Sherrick now did pop that Primal Rage, but he's out. He's now going to be looking to try to take down the mech from the D.Va, and they're going to be forced to pull out here, and I think try to see if they can make some adjustments, if I'm not mistaken, because surely nothing is working in their favor. And there it is, the Mercy pick comes out from Aang, and Main switches himself back over, of course, to that Zenyatta.
And I'm still curious if they're going to commit to Unfixed, sticking to their Reaper, considering he does have the Death Blossom. Unfortunately for him, he was the first one to go out in that previous team fight, and then once he did run back all the way from spawn, he didn't really have any room to work with. So seems like he will indeed just try to stick with it, but most of the defensive side should know, okay, Unfixed, if he's still on the Reaper, we'll have that Death Blossom most likely, and the first 2 kills are gonna go down to CIS Hope. And with the Resurrect still possibility coming out, we'll see him could be contested by the D.Va, and as a result, no kills coming out of Death Blossom. However, the D-suit will still happen. They're still gonna push their way onto the point, as it will see Ube go out with the Riptire, gets one onto Kent. It did. Finds a kill onto Hank somehow with that pulse bomb, and with that particular kill, this should mean Dose still holding out strong.
They do come away with a couple of ults, and that's big here because having the Transcendence and having Mercy ready to go with the Valkyrie as well will be big. They're really taking their time with Chow as well, and that's going to be a lot of time off the clock, so that's important as well. But certainly coming back into this fight, yeah, indeed, throwing him up against a locker room, or locker, don't come to school tomorrow, man, don't do it. But he's going to come back anyways on that D.Va, ready to go with a self-destruct, maybe looking for a little bit of redemption, but Aang will have that resurrection available more than likely for him if he does go down inside of that. But Unfixed now trying to get that Blossom back up. They want to come in here, but kill already to Sherrick as Aang is going to be forced to res that up with the Valkyrie popped. He does still have one more charge, but Kenzie getting low here. They don't want to use it too quickly. They want to have those options available. Ube bringing out the tire now, looking for Unfixed. He does have that Wraith form, so he does shift out of it. Res coming out now, and we see Kenzie coming back into the fight as the Pulse Bomb comes out. He finds the kill onto Benbest, now looking for that D.Va kill, trying to demech Heiko, and does indeed forces the self-destruct first tick on the board now for CIS Hope. They were stopped initially, but it doesn't look like they are going to be now. A nice team wipe, and they secure it. 220 is their time bank.
And Unfixed was ready to go with the Death Blossom if need be. If anyone managed to get even close to that checkpoint, and as a result, with a little bit more time in that time bank, it will look like CIS Hope could potentially get another win on the board, but overall, definitely much better play coming out of those compared to that previous King's Row.
So now, Sherrick back on defense here, going over to the Orisa, and Fix, of course, on the Mage just to boost him back up, as Aang will likely switch back over to the Mercy as Unfixed comes back to swap himself, but Kenzie notably is on that Widow again. So likely another opportunity to watch that duel. Been a little back and forth so far, but here we'll see what occurs on Anubis for the third time now. Aang, of course, making that swap as we talked about. Unfixed making one of his own over to the Junkrat, which we've seen a lot from him so far between that and the Reaper. Certainly a lot of playtime in Overwatch Pit Season 2.
And the interesting thing here that we have seen in the past on Anubis first point defense is when you do have that Zenyatta not really up with the rest of the team, with that Orisa, he seems to be definitely very vulnerable to that particular dive. So if they can somehow contest him, force him into a really bad position, get that first pick on the board, things might definitely not look good here for the side of CIS Hope. But of course, as I say that, Kenzie just gonna bring out that first blood.
And now Ube is gonna go ahead and try to make his way back over to the point. We remember the first time they attacked, Ube went down, and because of that high ground hold from CIS Hope, they didn't want to commit to falling lower just to try to fight that off. And they're going to do the same thing. Finally, someone goes down to contest it as Kenzie looking to try to take some more picks here. And an aggressive D.Va play by Chow is going to get him killed. Unfixed, not finding anything just yet, but here's the aggressive dive, and he already found what is likely to be a kill onto Benbest, and that is definitely going to be one, as of course the damage from Junkrat and Kenzie on the Widowmaker is just too much, especially when you're discorded by main as well. They stop them in their tracks, dead in place. 50 seconds remain here, Brunch.
It's not looking too good, especially since they have quite a bit of an advantage when it comes to some of those ultimates. Unfixed, if he's going to be ready to go with that Riptire, just one or two prime targets, of course one alone, could very well mean the end of this next push coming out of Dose. So they have 32 seconds left on that clock, and if you are Dose, what are you going to do? Commit to just potentially taking out Unfixed? Seems like they're going to try and go for that high ground. However, Sharik is going to pull that Winston back down, force him to regroup with his team. He's going to be really, really low. Ube is going to look for those targets, and Benbest is going to be able to find Unfixed to start it off.
Really good play there from Honey now, taking advantage of where main was just prior. He's trying to get his Transcendence up so they can keep this fight going, as of course we saw main already pull his out, but Honey now with a turn of his own. Benbest getting a lot of healing is going to be able to take down that Bongo. Chow is getting very low and now forced to pop his self-destruct because of it. And a nice yank there from Sherrick just to force that Zenyatta into that sightline. They take the kill with it. Dids now, of course, on that Widow, even still with a great sightline just as before on their first attempt. Cleaning things up alongside Ube with a nice pulse bomb. Secures not only the kill onto Unfixed, but also to main. It seems like it's just moments away. They need to take this kill onto Sherrick, and a headshot from Dids will take that kill as well.
Oh man, and Aang fighting for his life here. Takes down Hidan, but it seems like it's not gonna matter. And I gotta say, if Ube didn't get that pulse bomb right there for that double kill, I'd really think CIS Hope had what it takes to potentially still hold on to this point, but in the end, it will be Dose getting it, and they will have at the very least one shot at getting that 4th point on that scoreboard. But with 16 seconds remaining, they really need to make the most out of it. Unfix making the swap over to the Genji as well will look to contest this lineup. And interestingly enough, Hidan making even the swap to Moria, looking to really go all in with his team.
Unfixed already helped D-Mech Heiko. Big opening now to start putting some damage into that front line, but it's his that goes down. Sharek fell very early on there as Binbest is cleaning things up on this Winston. Overtime is ticking here, so Dose really wants to get at least that first tick to have a good chance at being able to take this map and take us to a game 3 along with it. Self-destruct now, caught by Chow. He doesn't find a kill, but Unfixed taking his sweet time, trying to get that blade generated as he's now up to about 60%. The pulse bomb comes out from Kenzie. Overtime ticking, and they will make the hold. Nothing secured here for Dose, but we're able to secure at least that first objective. We'll have to see what CIS Hope is going to be able to make of their attack.
And considering that swap there in the end, Unfix definitely cleaning up house with that Genji, with those Swift Strike resets in. I would actually potentially look forward to seeing him pick that particular one come their offensive round as well, as all things considered, when they did go for their respective strategy with main on that Moira, with Unfix on the Reaper instead, it seems like they definitely had a really good success overall before reaching that second point. But coming into this one once more, considering the fact that they've already shown this particular comp and their likelihood of picking it once more, do you expect those to be much more prepared?
Well, it seems like they're going for something a little different. I mean, look at the composition that they're pulling out. They're going for a little bit of a tank strat there themselves, which means that they won't have that high ground control, which means that Kenzie is going to go virtually uncontested, because really it's just up to Heiko to be able to deal with him. So I'm not sure about this composition here. I mean, they're going to have to be aggressive with their defense. They're going to have to hold pretty close. They're going to have to stick together. And as they do, Unfix should be able to just rip them down as that Reaper. So defensively, this comp, while it could catch CIS Hope off guard, on paper, just doesn't really make that much sense considering what CIS Hope are known to pick.
And of course, without that Mercy in this current meta, if somebody goes down, that's it. That's a pick taken for the offensive team here. And now, with that Tesla cannon just ripping through with that AoE, gonna look to get one particular kill, but doesn't find anything just yet. Will be pushed back by those as they will continue to try and get something done here towards that choke. Unfixed though, able to stay alive and continue to dish out a bunch of damage, already at 50% towards that Death Blossom.
That's big there too, but obviously that Death Blossom could be easily denied by both the Roadhog and the D.Va. We see Dids over on the side trying to make sure that they turn at least a little bit. And now Main already with the Coalescence. He's going to pop that. Hidan's going to have one of his own pretty soon here. Self-destruct comes out. Hidan pulls out the Coalescence, trying to keep everybody on his team healed up inside of this little room here, and boy, they really are doing a good job of just that. So far it has worked out beautifully for them, as Kenzie has been all but denied these sight lines by playing inside of that room. This has really worked out quite well for them so far. Unfixed, of course, not getting as much done on the Reaper as I initially kind of expected, but now going in for round 2, Kenzie's going to be making a swap, going over to the Tracer here. Unfixed at 70%. A lot being used in that last fight.
No.
And already taken down by that Fire Strike. They're going to get aggressive off of this.
And noting the fact that they do have 45 seconds left on this push, we'll see Unfix actually take down Bembest before he does manage to land that Earth Shatter. And as a result, Ube will pop that whole hog, try to get an answer, but Kenzie is going to be on the point. Will take down Hidan, and as with that final kill rather, it's going to make things really, really difficult here for Dose to still get a hold of this point. And as said, without a Mercy in this comp, just going to be a snowball here for CIS Hope, as they will find their way onto the point, and they do get it before overtime does kick in.
Now they're going to give themselves an opportunity to make their way over to the point, but they pretty much have to win this next fight. They're coming into it with both support ults. The defense doesn't have a mercy, so if you can land some picks early on, that'll be huge for you guys. But Unfixed now already taking some damage. Death Blossom, again, is at the ready. We see the Pulse Bomb come out, already lands the kill onto Sherrick. And with this Sound Barrier now, I mean, no mercy on either side, so any kill either way is a big deal. Unfixed unleashes the Death Blossom, somehow manages to get that big amount of healing from it as well. Wraith form ready for him, so he's going to dodge out on that ultimate of the self-destruct, and they secure it as Honey goes into the sky. He can't control it. CIS hope steal away this one as well.
But definitely a much closer one coming into Anubis, though showing some of their potential here, considering the fact that King's Row really was pretty one-sided. Overall, definitely like to see all these different compositions and teams in the European region really make the most out of this Reaper.
Unfixed, of course, doing a good job of that. But that'll be that for this series. We got another one coming up, but before that, we have a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere, guys.